Hello, welcome. I'm Carol DeChaine, your intuitive spiritual guide for practical matters and certified Marconics energy recalibration practitioner. I want to talk to you today about when your things are going really well. I mean, really well, and all of a sudden, out of the blue, sometimes from the most unexpected source, bam! And whether it's in your personal life or it's in your business life, you feel like it's a life-changing moment and not necessarily in a good way. Because if you have in your personal life, you really care about somebody, it may feel like an arrow to the heart. Or if it's business and it's money related, generally, you might feel like you just took a fist to the gut. And if you have someone that you're working with that you actually have a connection with, you might get both. So your initial reaction will probably be hurt, confusion. It could be anywhere in these primal emotions that go all the way through the anger, the betrayal, the abandonment, all those things might come out. And when that happens, that's the first thing that happens. But right, really close to that is when your brain goes, ah, and it leaves. Because there's only so much stress your body can handle and your mind can handle before it just leaves. So it's like Elvis, it goes, I'm leaving the building. And you're left with these primal emotions that make it not the best time all the time to necessarily make a decision. So what do? Well, if you know it's a crossroads and you don't know how to react at that moment, oh, you want to scream and yell at the person, but how do you react? It really depends on how you get the information. How does it happen? Do they come to you in person or tell you on the telephone? I mean, the person that has done whatever it is to you? Or do you get a text or an email like they do so many times nowadays? What do? Well, if you can give yourself the gift of time, then you'll give your mind a little bit of time to come back into your being, and you'll be able to make a better answer to where do I go from here. Without your mind involved, you're really acting on a gut level. And when you're in those primal emotions, the gut level may or may not be the best choice for you. So I'm going to go into a little bit about what happens. So if you're in person, what do? Well, here's this horrible news right in your face. Or even on the telephone. Do you just say, duh, and walk away? Excuse me. Or do you vent and immediately respond to that person? There aren't too many other responses you can do. You either tell them exactly what you're feeling at that moment, or you walk away, or you say nothing. And then you walk away. Because sometimes if you can get your mind back long enough, you can actually say something to the event of, or to the extent of, I can't talk right now. This really hurts. I need to get back to you. I just can't talk right now. And then walk away. But if for any reason that person says, that's just like you never tell me how you feel, and they just keep pushing you and pushing you, perhaps your best interest is to vent at that moment and tell them exactly what they feel. So you need to tell yourself in that moment when your brain is gone, you got to know what you're feeling. If you're feeling yes, in their face, or if part of you is going, no, don't say anything, you'll be so sorry. Because there's always going to be that little tiny voice that you'll hear even amongst the screaming in your head and the pain and the anger or anything else. You're going to have some sort of impetus. What is it that it's telling you? Because even if you don't still have your mind in your head, you have that little tiny voice. And if it says, get the hell out, then try and listen. Be polite as much as you can without telling them. I have 4-letter words I would say right now, but I won't. Go away, get away from me, or any of that stuff. You just say, I can't talk to you now. I'm too upset. Let me collect myself. And then you just walk away. So you're giving yourself that gift of time, and you can face them later. Now, if they indeed emailed you or texted you, number one, put down the electronics. I'm telling you, put down the electronics because your first response is going to hit reply. Please do not do that to yourself, because what I want you to be able to do is at the end of the day, be at peace with whatever you did in response. Because sometimes we don't have any control at all about how this is going to play out. We only have control over our reactions and how we respond. And my goal for you is to realize that you can take that time, even if your brain is going in circles or gone, if your mind is missing, but your emotions are in that primal fear, you can still take that control of yourself so that you can connect in a more peaceful place before you respond. So this is one suggestion I have for you. After you put down the electronics and you walk away, you can scream and cry and jump up and down. Don't punch the wall, but maybe punch something soft so you don't hurt yourself. Run around the block, do something physical, or scream and yell. Or you can do what I do. After, if I had an email that was really horrible for me, it brought up a lot. It was one of those arrows to the heart, the zings that really, it just feels like it's going to change your world. And so I printed out the email so I wouldn't touch my computer, and I hauled it around with me as I read it when I could, because I was crying, rather sobbing. At one point I felt I was going to hyperventilate, and you may have had that as well if you've ever been through this. And I read it a couple of times, and then when I was ready, I went back to the computer, not my phone. I closed my Gmail, and I opened up a Word document or whatever kind of document you need. And then I started typing. And I typed and typed and typed, and probably maybe an hour. So all those emotions, all those four-letter words, numerous times, I think everyone I knew came out of me in this letter, in this note, as though I was writing it to this person. And I think maybe I might have even made up a few four-letter words, or at least used a regular four-letter word in a very unique and creative way, because I was so much in pain and hurt. And of course I can laugh now, but then, oh no. And so when I finally got to the end of this typing, you start slowing down and you kind of get to the point where you go, is there anything else I want to say? And you don't realize it, but your mind starts slowly coming back into your head again. It starts going, am I done? And finally you say, okay, I've said, I think, everything I need to say. So now, where do I go from here? Where do I go from here? Because your mind is back, and you can even say that. But let me give you one hint, because people, they write things in texts and emails, and unless it's really straightforward and very succinct, like I've been sleeping with your best friend or something, if that's very succinct. But if it's something that somebody else might read and say, why are you so upset? Because it implies something, but it doesn't really say something. Oh, I've seen people lose best friends, lose relationships, because they assume somebody means something and they just cut them off because they're so furious. Please, if you read something and you think, I wonder if I should ask somebody else if this means what I think it does, don't reply. You don't reply in anger yet. First, you don't have to have somebody else read it, but at least think about what you want to say, and then hit reply to that person who texted you or emailed you and just say, what did you mean by blah, blah, blah? I'm not sure I understand, or I'm not sure I've got what you mean quite right, or something. And don't say anything else. Don't say, and you sound like you're horrible, this is awful. Don't say anything like that. Make them explain to you what they mean. Because sometimes they're joking around and they don't use emojis, so you can't really tell. Or it sounds mean and you're going, and they say, oh, what I meant was, and then they spell it out and you go, oh, well, why didn't you say that in the first place? And you're fine. And you've saved your whole relationship. But on the other hand, if they come back at you with what you expected, then you have that time to respond because you've given yourself that time. The good thing about taking that time is, especially if you write out what you're feeling and in a separate document and not in the reply mode, if you do that, it's like a good cry. Because if you've ever had one, you just sort of wind yourself down eventually and you just stop. You stop crying because you're done and all those emotions have come out. So when they've come out, then you're kind of at peace. And then you're okay to respond to that person who's hurt you so much because you can come from a better place. You can come from a place that is more your highest and your best good. Because what I wish for you is that when this awful news happens, when somebody hits you with that arrow to the heart or that punch in the gut, then you can go to sleep that night knowing that you did what was true for you. And you didn't just react to them in a way that they kind of pushed you into being, that you had the chance to be who you wanted to be, that you didn't let them hijack you. And so if you give yourself that time to respond to people, if there's any way you can, and they aren't in your face giving you the news, then please, by all means, give yourself that gift. Well, thank you for listening to me today. If you'd like to subscribe to my YouTube channel, please do. And please also check me out at www.connecttojoy.com. That's connect, the number 2, joy.com. And there you'll find information about success and prosperity coaching, a free download on 5 steps to effortless quantum leaps, your business and your life, as well as some Marconic energy no-touch and recalibration information. Thank you again. Blessings. Until next time. Bye-bye.